All right. All jokes aside, let's see if we got everything going here. And I'll make sure that's taken care of there. Okay, so watching for a screen. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock on my end. Wait till you guys can see me. Hopefully. Come on. All right. Kimberly says 5 by 5, which is good because I can't see me yet. There we go. Here we come. All right. So you guys, I'm hearing 5 by 5. We're seeing 5 by 5. So that means you guys can hear me. That's good. We'll cross our fingers that the audio all works out well tonight, using the same microphone I used last week, which seemed to be okay. So we'll see what happens, but go from there. So happy Tuesday. Sorry about my bad jokes, but I figured, hey, you guys are dogging me about okra all the time. I figured I was going to get a joke in there. So that was it. Yes, Tony DG noticed something here. This came in the mail yesterday from one of you guys. I won't say who because I still get inundated with send me one too. But that was kind of cool. So it says Alligator Alcatraz, Florida GOP. I love it. So I was like, okay, I got to wear this for the live stream. So I know I don't normally do hats on the live stream on Tuesdays, but it's one of those hair days. So I figured this was worthwhile. Yeah, Mrs. P and I were out running around doing all sorts of crazy stuff today again, as per normal. So, but that was it. Uh, yeah, I guess some of the videos I've put up lately have been controversial, I guess, if you will. It's funny reading the comments because some people are like, I can't believe you're so wrong on this, blah blah blah. And other people are like, I'm 100% behind you, and it's my opinion, okay. And the whole point of it is to get everybody to think about it because if nobody talks about it, nothing ever gets done. And I think I've told you before that somebody had said they are a limo driver in DC and has heard people in the back seat of the limo talking about my videos. Uh, so who knows who's listening? That's always a good thing. And if they know we're talking about this stuff, I'm not just saying just me, I'm saying anybody, you know as well as I do that every senator, congressman, the White House has a social media team that is combing, watching everything from YouTube to Twitter to Facebook to Instagram to see what getting the pulse on the public. So they know we're talking about it. They know they need to be talking about it. That's kind of the way I look at it. So I told you guys a long time ago, I'm no fanboy of Trump. I voted for him. I support him, everything like that. But if he does something stupid, I'm going to call it out. Okay. As I said, the 51st state of Canada or Greenland with idiotic stuff. The not putting out the Epstein list. As I said this morning, I think there may be something more to that. We'll see. But it was kind of funny after I said a couple of things this morning. All of a sudden, there were news stories of this afternoon of Ghislaine Maxwell is going to talk to the press. I'm like, don't know, but just saying. I'm certainly not patting myself on the back, but maybe there's a couple dozen other people who said the same thing. Why don't you go look here? And you know, boss, we've heard this 50 times today. We might want to do this. It's kind of my point. So stuff like that. So if you don't agree with me, that's cool. I don't. It doesn't bother me. Okay. I don't expect everybody to. I've said that here a million times. I don't expect everybody to agree with everything I say. I just want everybody to be able to think about something and make your point because a lot of the times you guys will make a point on something and I'm like, you know what? That's a good thing too. Go there. I I haven't cornered the market on good ideas, telling you that right now, on how to think about stuff. We all have good things to do. I just happen to have a medium that I talk about it, but you guys have that too to come back and say, did you think about it this way? I listen. Trust me. A lot of good ideas you guys have had that I've turned around and shared too. So, but that was the fun one today. The other part today was the crypto bill failed. It didn't even get through the rules to vote on it. And I know there's a whole bunch of people, the crypto world, who's all pissed about it. And it's funny because they're pissed it didn't pass, but they don't realize why it didn't pass. And it didn't pass. The dozen or so Republicans who voted against it, every Democrat's going to vote against it because it's a Republican thing. So, again, as I've said, they could come up with the cure to cancer, and the Democrats would vote against it. But there were about a dozen Republicans or so that voted against it. And everybody's like, why? This would be great for us. But there's a caveat in there. It doesn't ban CBDC, central bank digital currency, which is what so many people, including me, want. No way do I want a government controlled digital currency, as we've all talked about multiple times. I'm sorry, Mr. Pinball, you've already bought your 2 apples this month. You're not allowed to buy anymore. So that we're putting that back on the shelf. You've exceeded your gasoline allowance, your red meat allowance. Sorry, you've used too much electricity this month. Pick something. Okay. No. And that's what these dozen senators are against. And I agree with them on that. Do they want to have a stable coin? Sure, that's fine. Go for doing something like that. We're going to need something along those lines eventually anyway. But none of this CBDC crap. And so I commend the senators who actually read the bill, or yeah, no, it's congressman, right? Yeah, okay, congressman who actually read the bill. Yeah, because the Senate passed it, so now it's about a dozen congressmen. Sorry, my bad on all of that. Who actually read the bill and go, "Ooh, this is a problem. The people don't want this." So that's going to be a battle. Trump, of course, is pushing for this bill to go through. I don't think he's in tune with what we're all saying about the restrictions. It's a slippery slope that you get into. Oh, don't worry about it. We'll put that in. What you're talking about will never happen until it does because it's in there. Well, how many times they go back? The bill passed in 1939. We're going off of that. Okay, the bill passed in 2025. I don't care if it's 20 years from now. I don't want anybody telling PBJ, I'm sorry, you can't, buy any more gas. You're going to have to get an electric car because you need to drive X amount of miles and you can't buy enough gas this month or whatever. That's the issue. I'm sorry, I don't need the government telling me you have to set your thermostat in your house to 78 degrees because 76 is too cool. No, I'm not dealing with that. So my opinion, okay? But as I said, I don't agree with everything they do. I have my own mind, my own brain. I'm not a liberal. I just don't go, oh, Nancy said to do it. It must be good because I can't think for myself and I need Nancy Pelosi to do it for me. No, sorry, it doesn't work that way for me. So, all right, enough for me rambling. Let's get into some Q&A here, guys. As per normal, if you guys have questions for me, please put them in all caps. It just makes it a lot easier for me to go through the chat room here and find questions a lot quicker. As usual, I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to converse amongst yourselves. Just do it in lowercase. Only rule, as per normal, is treat everybody in here with respect, with decency. Difference of opinion is totally cool. Being an asshole is not. That'll get you tossed for good. Okay. And Beetle B, my cough has nothing to do with vaping. I've got a head cold and I've been blowing my nose for 2 days. So has nothing to do with that. So, and Mrs. P's got it too. So both of us have had a sore throat. And runny nose. But thanks for concerning yourself with my health. All right, let's get up here to the top. All right, there we go. Love the hat. Talked about that. Uh, Cersei, conversation is healthy with sides. Sure, absolutely. Okay, let's get down here. Happy Gardner, if we don't examine the threads on the tapestry of world events and share our point of view, we'll get tripped up. Yes, you're absolutely right. And there are way too many people in this world that just blindly go through life and don't pay attention. How many of y'all have ever heard, I don't watch the news? I don't pay attention to that. I don't care what's going on there. But then they are the first ones to bitch that why are food prices so expensive, or why is the interest rate on my savings account so crappy, or what? You haven't been paying any attention. Why are gas prices going up? If you know this sort of stuff, you can prepare ahead of time for it. Hey, gee, you know what? We just bombed Iran. Chances are the gas prices are going to go up in 24 hours. Go get gas. A bunch of us did. What happened? Gas prices went up. Gee, paid attention to the news, took action on it, and saved myself $3 or $4. Don't know the context of that one. Rick's Corner. Tucker has a live stream on Thursday at 8 p.m. on Twitter about Epstein. That would be a must-watch TV thing for a lot of people who want to know what's going on. I mean, the funny part is there was a bill that went through on the floor today of Congress to release the Epstein files. It failed. All the Democrats were for it, all the Republicans were against it. And this is kind of what I was talking about this morning. I'm wondering that there's something going on, because don't tell me that every Republican is on that list. It's not going to happen. And I have a tendency to think there's more to this. There's some political posturing. There's some games going on that we don't know about. That's what I was talking about this morning. But it'll be interesting to watch, see what Tucker has on Thursday. I'd love to see it. Tucker says, my special guest is Ghislaine Maxwell. Who's on the list? Well, let me start with Bill and Hillary. You know, watch that blow up around the world. Linda Friesen, about how much did my pond wind up costing me? Well, it's going to be different everywhere for everybody because excavators cost different. I had a boatload of trees that were in that area that had to come down, so I had to cut all those down. We rented a chipper for a couple of days so we could chip up all those trees. I don't know if you guys ever saw the huge pile, but it was about 16 grand to clear that area and to dig the hole. And I'm guessing it's probably going to, Mrs. P and I are guessing it's probably going to cost us about 10 to 15 more to dig a well and then to run power to it. So yeah, by the time all's said and done in it, I'm figuring I'm gonna be into that thing for 30 grand. Uh Hence, like I said, we're saving money for it because it ain't like I'm just going, cool, you know what? Let me just open up the wall. It doesn't work that way. Don Oliver, I see where he's going to send artillery to Ukraine through NATO. I thought he was done with NATO. It's okay. Whether or not it's through NATO, I don't know. Okay. But it's definitely through the EU. So, what the deal is, and this is kind of, Mrs. P and I were talking about this as we were driving today. This is kind of how he's trying to play both sides against the middle. Because remember, Trump has got to keep even the neocons on his side to get anything done. But he also wants to keep the moderates that says we're not going to do anything. So his solution is to not send Ukraine weaponry, but to sell it to EU nations, and then what they do with it is up to them. So Trump is not giving stuff to Ukraine. He is not giving it away for free. He's selling it to EU nations. And then if they decide they're willing to buy it and give it away, that's up to them. But we still get paid for it. So, yeah, it's still our weaponry, but we're not giving it away for free. Now, where it gets even more interesting is there was news out today that Zelensky, this was in the Russian press, Zelensky is screaming in Europe that he doesn't need more weapons, he needs men. And that he's now telling the EU that he needs soldiers. And Hungary was the first one that came out and said, Viktor Orban came out and said, "You're not getting any weapons from us, you're not getting any money from us, and you're certainly not getting any troops from us." Because, like Mrs. P said, and trust me, she's no fan of Putin, I'm no fan of Putin either. Okay. But like Mrs. P said, this war is just going on and on and on and on, and it should be over. And these countries in especially Eastern Europe, so you figure Hungary, the Baltics, Poland, the ones that are there on the border or near the border with Russia or Belarus or anything like that, are going, you know what? We're probably better off not pissing off Russia because we're right on the border. And you get these countries like Germany and France going, "Oh, we're going to have a couple of days because, if the Russians ever try to do anything, they got to go through Poland first. So we'd know." Poland's going, "Yeah, been there before when Germany came through." No, not happening. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I've said many times, I mean, the complete flip in Europe in my lifetime is amazing. Seeing the former Eastern Bloc countries being conservative and the former Western Bloc countries wanting to go communist. I'm just, it dumbfounds me being a Cold War vet. Just, it amazes me. Robert and his smart ass stuff about it. Yeah, okay. Robert put it up. You guys raise $127,000. I'll eat a piece of okra. Okay, that's it. And we'll send it to Kerrville, and we'll send it to the homeless shelter for vets, and God knows what. But yeah, you guys do that. I'll eat a piece of okra. All right, Vinny Brady. We had a lightning strike on Saturday, and we had advice for pinball to download movies. I'm guessing on a hard drive, and we watched movies Saturday and Sunday. There you go. Okay. It's something to do, especially if you've got kids. Okay, I've said many times that some of the silliest preps that you can have are a deck of cards, a checkerboard, backgammon, cribbage. If anybody knows how to play cribbage, I still love to play cribbage. Uh, but any board games or something like that that can keep kids entertained, because y'all know as well as I do when that phone goes out, "Mom, my phone doesn't work," right? I mean, it's like the world just ended. And if the power's out or the internet's out or the cell towers are out, the kids don't have phone, they're completely lost. And when I say kids, I mean pretty much anybody under 30. Uh, so somehow, some way, you got to entertain them. So the fact that you had movies, awesome. You know, and have some fun with it too. Go get some of the old '80s movies if you've got kids. Show them Back to the Future or fun movies, but something that's not superheroes and not woke. And the kids are like, "Mom, I don't get it. Where's the gay character? Mom, why is she married to a white guy?" You know, it's like, And you know what? It's just there you go. Circe, stable coins. They will in essence report up as if a CBDC. Same thing, but private sector issue. Not really. Okay. Uh, because again, when you were talking about something that's not government issued, as you're saying here, private sector issued, there's going to be, I mean, what was it? Citibank came out and said that they wanted to issue a stable coin, their own one today, which is going to be really interesting if every bank has their own form of money. This is like going back to the early 1800s, where you go to San Francisco and you've got one set of money, you go to Los Angeles, you got another set of money, because there was real no inter or even intrastate commerce at that point. But that would, can you imagine if every bank had their own money? It's like, oh, we only take Bank of America coin here. We only take Citibank here. Well, how do I exchange this one for this? Well, we'll do it, but there's going to be a fee involved in it. That's going to wind up a real mess. So we'll see what happens. But banks never do anything ever in the customer's best interest. Just I will remind everybody of that. There's never been a thing a bank has done in their life that has not been in the bank's own interest. Linda Friesen noticed some products on Amazon have the green leaf designating carbon ratings. Yeah, I don't care. I mean, that's you can waste your money and get your carbon certification or whatever it is. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna still buy my beer in aluminum cans, and I'm still going to burn firewood in my fire pit. I don't care about your carbon ratings. I don't care about your global warming. I'm going to drive a gas car. You know, this is it. It doesn't make a lick of difference. You can scream and yell all you want, but until you can answer the question of where does the money go to pay for these carbon credits, shut up. Okay. Putting it in some politician's pocket is not saving anything. So, no, you want to save the planet? Prove it. You know, don't tell me we stop oil or whatever it is while you're wearing your tennis shoes that are made out of plastic or your polyester shirt that's made out of oil or something, and you drove your car, oh, it's an electric car that's mostly made out of plastic, and you drove on a road that's made out of asphalt. Shut up. Okay, that's it. Until you're telling me you're riding a horse and wearing fig leaves, shut up. Okay, now we shut to the bottom. Back up. Do. I don't know where it was. Okay, go close. Okay. Kilo 2 Bravo. How are cryptos different than any fiat currency? Without any backing, they look too much like another Ponzi scheme. I'll stick with metals. Okay. I'm going to agree with you on 99% of them. Okay. Because they're no different than fiat in regards to, what was it? I think it's Tether or something last week said, oh, yeah, we printed like 4 billion more Tether coin or whatever the hell it is. Okay. What's the difference between that and fiat currency? Totally 100% agree with you. That's the only reason why I finally changed my tune on Bitcoin was because Bitcoin was limited. There was only 21 million of them. There will only ever be 21 million of them. They can't print more. So at that point, there's limited supply. Now, gold and silver are kind of like that. It, I mean, obviously, they can mine more gold and silver and put more in the market, sure. But it's not as simple as turn on the printer press. The printing press is there, Jerome. Got it. Okay. I'll have 2 trillion out for you by the end of the day, boss. You know, It's not that easy. So I and you know me, I'm still a gold bug, a silver specter, whole 9 yards. I still got it, still get more of it, but I branched out. Like I said, I've got some Bitcoin. So I mean, I've got gold and silver, I've got cash, I've got gold, I've got Bitcoin, I've got dividend paying stocks, yada yada yada. Yeah, I do. Okay, I'm very well diversified because something may go good, something may go bad, whatever. Every day, Mrs. P and I will look at it and go, "Oh, what happened today? Oh, Bitcoin was up, Bitcoin was down, or gold and silver was up, or one's up, one's down, et cetera, et cetera." So, uh, I tell people all the time, it's like, do not be a one-trick pony. You know, it's the same thing with anything else in life. You know, do you have one caliber of weapon? That's it. It's all I've got. I have a 5.56 rifle and a 5.56 pistol. It's okay. What if the only ammo you get is 9 millimeter? Well, shit, then I'm screwed. Exactly. So, back to basics. I made sure my thermostat is not a smart one. Good. So the utility company cannot change the temperature remotely. The repairman told me to do that. We actually had that happen to us when we moved into Vegas. The house already had the smart thermostat in it. I didn't even realize it. And Vegas gets hot, and we had set the thermostat down, oh, probably about 76 or something. Usually that's about where we keep it in the summer. And all of a sudden, the thermostat's at like 82, and I'm like, why is it so hot in here? And I set it down to 76. I'm like, oh, Mrs. P must have changed or something like that. And within an hour, it was at 82 again. And so I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I got a HVAC company. I said, I got something wrong with my thermostat or with my AC unit. He goes, no, you got a smart thermostat. He goes, they're just uh, adjusting it up to save on electricity. I'm like, pull it out. You got another one? He goes, oh, yeah, I can put an old school one in there. I'm like, perfect, done. That was it. No, sorry, you're not telling me what temperature I can keep it at. Brian Steinmacher, how is my garden doing? You want some cucumbers? I'm picking planted 9 cucumber plants. I'm picking probably 40 cucumbers a day. We can't. I mean, I'm giving them away. We can't eat them fast enough. We're pickling them. I mean, but there's only so much you can do with cucumbers. You can't freeze them or anything. You can pickle them. I've got jars and jars and jars and jars of pickles. So we've been giving them away. Plum tomatoes are coming in. The uh, mortgage lifters have not. I've got tomatoes, but they haven't turned red yet, so we haven't got that yet. I picked the last of my green beans, what I think are the last of my green beans, because the plants are starting to look pretty torn up uh, over the weekend. The peppers are looking good, and the corn is enormous, but I don't have sweet corn, so everybody else, Mrs. P was saying we were coming home today. She's like, "Oh, look, they're selling corn on the side of the road already." Like, yeah, I said, but we don't have sweet corn. I said, I got bent corn. I said, we're not going to be picking ours for 2 months. So, so that was it. But yeah, and sweet potatoes are looking good. Uh, so fortunately, we've had a couple of short but good rains where it's rained about a half an hour, but it's rained pretty hard. And I've got good soil, so not native. So that's helped. So everything's looking good. It could be better. Uh, but because we had that massive heat wave that ran through here for about 10 days, and everybody had that really burned up my tomato plants. But you do what you can. So fortunately, tomatoes for us this year are primarily going to be fresh eating, not a whole lot of canning, because I've still got jars and jars and jars of chili and jars and jars and jars of tomato sauce. So we're good. Uh, Forge, CBDC also opens the door for social credit score. Yes, you are absolutely correct. Imagine, if you will, Mr. Pinball, you posted something controversial. Me? No, never. So you won't be able to buy gas for your truck this month. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's why. I mean, I'm not talking about just that. Anything, you know. What do you used the wrong pronoun with the cashier at Walmart? I'm sorry, sir. You're now forbidden from doing X. Your library privileges have been revoked. Yeah, you want you don't. But so many people don't believe that works. Go look at China. China has a social credit score. They already use it. You forget they were welding people into their apartments during COVID. Do you want to live in that? I mean, that this is not fake news. That's actually what they were doing. The guys were out there with welding torches, welding the doors shut. Uh, Ronald Simmons, upstate South Carolina. Can I plant pumpkins now? You probably should have planted pumpkins 2 months ago. Uh, you can try. I'm not gonna. It, I I doubt you're gonna have them by Halloween. Let's put it this way: if you do, you might have little ones. If you're planting pie pumpkins or something, maybe if you're I'm seeing the Halloween jack o' lantern. If you're planning on that, I wouldn't count on it. Yeah, those should have probably been planted back early May. Linda Town, hi Pinball. I haven't got notifications for lunchtime videos. Are you busy harvesting or just not having them? A couple of things. First off, there's got to be something to talk about. Okay, I'm not interested in wasting your time and just getting on here making a video and bullshitting about something just for clicks or something. That's never been me. If there's something important, I'll tell you. There's always something to talk about for the morning video. I mean, I rarely ever have I missed a morning video, but I'm not just going to bullshit something, for an afternoon video. If something's important, I'll talk about it. I mean, CPI came out today. It was kind of a mixed bag. It really didn't do anything. It's like, all right, I thought, okay, if inflation numbers were, big one way or the other, that'd be important. It was pretty much right in line with expectations, and nobody cared. It's like, all right, that was it. But even at the top of the show tonight, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about what happened. We didn't have the crypto vote till this afternoon, so that didn't make a difference. Uh, if there's something important, I'll talk about it. If there's not, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time. Then the other part is, yes, this time of year now it starts getting busy, and because it was up above 90, temperature here got to 91 today, so heat index is probably close to 100 because it was humid out today. And so in the mornings, I'm out as soon as I put up the morning video. I'm out in the yard picking cucumbers or pulling weeds or doing whatever I need to do so I can get back in before the heat of the day because by about 11 o'clock it's getting miserable out there. And I mean, a couple of times you guys have seen me come in, and it's like, I apologize for being a sweaty mess. Uh, so yeah, it's a combination of both. There's got to be something to talk about, and I've got to not be busy as all get out trying to do it. And we're starting harvest season, and we haven't got into canning season yet, but that's coming soon. As soon as tomatoes start coming in, sweet potatoes start coming in, that sort of stuff, we'll be canning. I'm going to go over to Brett's. My potatoes that I'm doing buckets over there for seed potatoes should be about done. I looked at them a couple of days ago when I was over there, and they were starting to turn brown. So we'll see what I got on that. But yeah, that is okay. Now I'm going to have what 240. No, so I'll have what 500 ears of corn roughly to then shuck and break off the cob and grind and do all that. So, yeah, there. You guys know it, especially if you got bigger gardens or God forbid you live on a farm. You're taking care of animals, which I'm not, other than dogs. You know, but I get how busy that is. You guys understand what I'm talking about. Mary B. Hi, Pinball. Question on a lithium ion battery. Does keeping it plugged in for UPS impact the battery life? No, it's because it's not running through a cycle. It, what you're talking about with a cycle of a battery is draining it and refilling it, and draining it and refilling it. But if you're just using UPS, the power supply, literally all you got is a pass through of the grid juice right through the battery. So it's not draining it. It's not sucking out of here and refilling. It's just going right through. So no, you're not eliminating your cycles. Richard Mushcat got my Delta Pro 3 today. There you go. Have fun with that. Uh, Michelle Chiancone, how did my strawberry wine taste? I didn't make any this year. My strawberry harvest this year was crap. And I think that was because we had such a wet spring. I think I told you last year, Mrs. P and I picked way more than a 5 gallon bucket full of strawberries. This year, I probably got about 3 or 4 quarts of them. That was it. Uh, So we ate them fresh, and that was pretty much it. But we had such a wet spring here. We got because I've got June bearing strawberries that come in around the end of May, and so as they were starting in the middle of May, we were getting man, that end of May, beginning of June here. It was literally I could squish walking through my yard. It was so wet. H. Asking for a friend. Is there such thing as a negative social credit score? Oh yeah, absolutely. If you're against the powers that be, I mean, again, depends on who's monitoring the score. Under Joe Biden, I'd probably have a very negative credit score. Under Donald Trump, I'd probably have a pretty positive one. You know, do you believe in climate change? No. Okay. Do you want an electric vehicle? No. There do you eat beef? Yes. It's like, oh my God, everything that the Democrats believe in, I don't. My credit score would be a negative a million. Jason Hoff, 9611. Is the freestanding site still a thing? I couldn't get it to work. Just checking to see if I did it wrong. Honestly, I haven't even looked at it in probably over a year. Uh, so I couldn't answer you there. I'm not active on it. I can say that for sure. It was a good idea, but it it never gained the traction I think that they were trying to get out of it. Robert Bates, okra coin. There you go. Yeah, I'll start my own. Right there, you go. LG girl, summer colds stink. Feel better soon. Thank you. Yes, they do. Fortunately, I took some Dayquil before the live stream started, and that's at least keeping me from blowing my nose every couple of minutes while we're here. So I was trying to think it's a little bit disgusting the whole way through. Healthy disrespect. Do I think Trump should send a team into the patent archives to unsecretize all the alternative energy patents that disappeared because they might not be competition for big oil? That's an interesting concept. Uh, because yeah, I mean, you think about all the stuff that Nikolai Tesla, before Elon Musk used the name, or before back in the '80s, the '80s and '90s used the name. Uh, he had come up with a whole bunch of alternative energy things. There's a lot of those out there that, like you said, big oil squashed, and there's plenty of stuff that all of the big companies, big food, killing all the competition for uh, what's the crap corn syrup. Oh my God, corn syrup. No, we need corn syrup. You can't have real sugar. I mean, if anybody's ever tasted the difference between a Coke with real sugar and a Coke with corn syrup, you'll know the difference. Uh, but yeah, that would be a interesting idea. Send that one to your congressman. Said, hey, here's an idea to pitch. See what happens. I'm sorry. Jason Hoff, silver at $40 an ounce, still a buy. Yes, silver's actually about 36. What it closed to about 36.80, I think it was the the bid on it. So the ask was probably 37 and change plus premium. So yeah, thereabouts $40. But still a buy because even at $40 and gold is 33 and change, that's still what 84, 85 to 1. So yeah, silver's still undervalued. So, yeah. Personally, I didn't see silver going up this high this year, but I'm not complaining. So I'll give you a comp. I'll give you a thing. And I've had this argument with people before, and you, you guys have all heard this the same as I have. Okay, crypto is going to replace the dollar. Gold and silver is going to replace the dollar, et cetera. Who knows? Seashells or marbles. Something's going to replace the dollar. And my answer always is nothing will replace the dollar as long as we are pricing everything in dollars. And you say it right here. Silver's at $40 an ounce. How are you? What are you using as your gauge? You've got 1 ounce of silver, and you're pricing it in dollars. Bitcoin is what $120,000 or whatever it is. Nobody's saying Bitcoin is 300 ounces of silver. They're saying Bitcoin's $120,000. So as long as we keep pricing everything in dollars, dollars will exist. When you go into the store and the little tag there says 0.002 Bitcoin, then we have a change. But as long as it still says dollar, don't think fiat's going anywhere. It's going to become worth less and less and less and less, but we're still going to have it. All these people saying, "Oh yeah, the dollar is going to be gone by the end of the year." No, I mean, what is it? I think I've talked about this before. Obama passed something to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Obama left the White House almost 10 years ago. I've never seen a Harriet Tubman $20 bill yet. So, you know, money changing money does not work. If we can't change a picture on a $20 bill in 10 years, we're certainly not changing the complete structure of the American currency system in 6 months. Back to basics. If what my brother said about the cost of drilling a well is right, you could be looking at 2025. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to hope, okay, because I don't necessarily need to go as deep as we do for the house because I don't need the clean water per se, and I don't need the GPM. So we'll see. We'll when I get the drillers out here, which from the last I talked to somebody, there's like a 2 year backlog in getting them on a schedule. Welcome to living out the country. Uh, that could be fun there too. Country Humans Network. What can you do? My 91-year-old mom to TCU. Refuses to TCU after being in the hospital for 5 days with an angiogram for a weak heart. According to the doc, won't listen to the doc. I don't understand. I don't understand what you're asking there. Joey Walls. Hey, Pinball. I planted my tomatoes really early and they're turning yellow. Did I plant too early? Uh, you sure you didn't plant yellow tomatoes? Okay. I mean, there'd be the first question I ask is the only thing I can think if you didn't plant yellow tomatoes, that'd be my first guess. Uh, is you are, but if the plant's still green, you got to have a seriously depleted soil. Try getting some. Uh, what's it called? Get on Amazon. It's Doctor Earth's. Damn it! but it's a high phosphorus, high potassium liquid fertilizer, and try getting that on there if you didn't plant yellow for yellow tomatoes. Uh, Utopia, thank you for the super sticker there, super chat. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate the word of encouragement. Uh, Prep Rebel. I personally think Trump went from 4D chess to 5D chess. I hope so, because I hope he didn't go from 4D chess to 2D chess, because then we got problems. Von Mousetrap. Zelensky needs to go away. I pray we don't ever send troops to that grifter. From your mouth to God's ears. I hope to God. I can't say the word on YouTube, but I really wish somebody in Ukraine would just take care of him. It's hard because I mean he's he reminds me of the guy that's a beggar, and you give him 20 bucks, and the beggar comes back and bitches that it's not 50. I mean that's what Zelensky reminds me of. That's the only way I can describe him. Dale from Ohio, 30-year Treasury now at 5%. Latest inflation number up 0.3. Tariff related. A little bit. Now, tariffs, we've now collected over $100 billion worth of tariffs. So that is good. Uh, Inflation was a mixed bag. I forget what it was higher than expectations month over month, but lower than expectations year over year, or the other way around. It was higher than one and lower than the other. Uh, don't quote me; it's been a long day. Uh, but it was a mixed bag. I don't think this is that much tariff related. Uh, the Treasury market, the Treasury bonds are, yeah. See, and the 30-year isn't something that I watch. I watch the 10-year more. Uh, because 30 years I'll be 88, so I'm not overly concerned about what the 30-year does. And I own my house, so I don't need to worry about what's my mortgage is pegged to. Uh, but yeah, I've got to dig more into treasuries. I haven't paid attention to them in a couple of weeks. I've been watching more short-term stuff, the dollar index and stuff like that, because that, in my opinion, is a lot more critical. Uh, Off-grid living, am I getting motivated to install a wood stove? Yeah, when it's 91, 92 degrees and 100-degree heat index, that's the first thing I'm thinking about. When am I going to get a wood stove? No, actually, Mrs. P and I have talked about it. Right, this wall right behind me, this window is coming out eventually, and we are going to put in a fireplace with a insert in it. Uh, but that is another 20 some odd $1,000. So that may be a few years down the road because the pond is the number one priority. That's the number two priority. And at that point, we said, there's pretty much nothing else we need to do, barring any disasters. I mean, we built the garage, we replaced the roof. You know, it's just, oh my God. So the expensive stuff, knock on wood, is taken care of. So, but it's one of these. It's like, all right, save up the money, and go. We talked about that. Vicky Savage, if I eat a piece of okra, will it be big enough to be visible? You guys raise $127,000. I'll eat a whole piece of okra. Don't worry. I'm not. I'm not worried because I don't think that's happening. Beth Wolper, what do you think of New York Attorney General's office has hired Hunter's attorney to represent her in her mortgage fraud case. The way it reads, citizens are paying for a personal fraud case. I don't know anything about that story, so it'd be irresponsible for me to comment. The only one I know, I heard today that apparently Adam Schiff is in trouble for mortgage fraud. Uh, Kind of funny, just how the Democrats are really good. Because who was it? Letitia James was also busted for mortgage fraud. Guess that's a criteria for being a Democrat. But no, I don't know. I don't know anything about the AG's office at all, so I can't really say anything about it. Kathy Acevedo, my kids loved Weekend at Bernie's. I wasn't a fan of that movie. There's my tastes are. Trust me, I didn't like the worst movie in my opinion made ever was Napoleon Dynamite. And some people love that movie. I've tried to watch it 3 times. I can't sit through more than the first 20 minutes of it. Just too stupid. I'm not a fan of stupid comedy. I don't like Jim Carrey. I don't like what's the idiot who played Elf? Will Ferrell. I mean, I don't like stupid. Isn't funny to me. Okay. Uh, but then again, I'm the guy that never thought Seinfeld was a good show. I didn't particularly care for Friends. You know, all right, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. Maybe I don't. Maybe I've got crappy taste, but that was it. But yeah, I would. Weekend at Bernie's was. I was like, yeah, yippee. It's probably more my taste there because I'm definitely on the minority with most of those. Blackjack, pinball. What does Mrs. P think of the Russian banks rationing rubles to the Russian people? She talked about that a little bit this morning when she came downstairs, and we we really the conversation got sidebarred on that one, and we really didn't get into it that much. I'm going to have to ask her more about it because we really didn't go into it that far in deep in depth. Carolyn Romans, why have I not purchased a freeze dryer? Because they're $3,000, $4,000. That's a good start. I'm thinking of buying one. Want to know your opinion? That it's extremely expensive, right? 3,000, 4,000 bucks for a freeze dryer. How much freeze dried food do you eat now? Honestly, okay. I can see it if a group of people got together. You've got a mag that's got 20 people in it, and each one of you guys wants to chip in 500 bucks, okay, or whatever, $200. Then I could see it. Okay, hey, it's going to be in so and so's garage or whatever it is, and anytime you got to come over and do it, and leave 20 bucks in the jar there for the electric bill. But for if you got a big family, all right, maybe. But how much really do you eat dehydrated food? I mean, we've got or free. I'm sorry, freeze dried food. I mean, we've got a dehydrator, and we dehydrated all the stems from the onions. We dehydrate some of the pears that we had last year. I've still got dehydrated pear slices from last year because we just don't eat it that much. I mean, the dehydrated onions I've got enough to make onion flakes that'll last me 10 years for soup. Uh, I mean, literally, how much freeze dried food are you going to eat? And for me and Mrs. P, it's not worth the expense. That's why we have not purchased one. Oh, wow, it's 5 2 already. Okay, this is where it was. Hang on. Broke Stacker, thank you for the super chat. Hunter Biden is hunkered in a crack house, and you have to blast one song on repeat to smoke him out. You choose Highway to Hell, Like a Virgin, any P. Diddy song. Uh, I think I think I do the one that works for most police departments. Play Baby Shark over and over and over again, or the Barney song, or something like that. You know, those. I'm not going to play something that you could actually enjoy. I mean, not that I enjoy Madonna, but yeah, I'd play something that was so irritating. That would be it. Uh, okay, let's see. We did that one. Kathy Carper, I'm in North Metro Atlanta. Is it too late to plant sweet potato slips? What are we? August, September, October. If you still got 80-degree weather in mid-November, you're okay. Because sweet potatoes need warm weather, and you need 120 days. So if it, you know, if you still got 80-degree weather right before Thanksgiving, you might be able to get there. Uh, Ildeco's Gourmet on a Budget. Do I teach Mrs. P about investing? Yes, I do. Uh, we talk about everything. It was funny because we were looking at some stuff this evening before the live stream, and I was like, okay, these are some companies that I might want to look at. And so she got on there and she starts looking them up, and then she gives me her opinion on the industry or something like that. It's like, okay, this is what she sees. So I mean, I keep her very involved in it. I still run it, but it's not like it's blind and she doesn't know what's going on. She knows everything we own. She's agreed to everything. Asks me questions, so we talk about it. I teach her, as much as I can about what's going on, so she understands it. Because as I tell her all the time, remember, I'm 11 years older than she is. Okay, chances are I'm going to be gone before she is, and she's going to have to continue on. So she needs to know all this stuff. Jim Rupp, if I can divide Bitcoin, it is unlimited, right or wrong? I don't understand what you're asking. Uh, Jenny DP, I know you've already said before, but can you please restate that's legit? If you're talking about where I get it, I use JM Bullion. I like them because they offer a military discount. I use SD Bullion. I'd say that's probably where I get about 70% of my stuff. Sales. AppMex is good. I bought stuff from Money Metals. Those are probably the four that I use, but the main three, JMSD and AppMex, are the three. And anytime I'm going to go buy, I always look at all three of them. I see what sales they have on there because the silver price is silver price, but the premiums they charge are different. Sometimes you'll find stuff that they have, 49 cents over spot, and somebody else is $1.99 over spot or something. Like what's a buck and a half an ounce? Where then this one offers free shipping, this one doesn't, or this is what the shipping costs are. So I mean, I work all that in. It's like, okay, at the end, I want to buy 10 ounces of silver. What's it going to cost me, including shipping, including premiums, including everything, and then whoever's got the best price gets the business. 858. Okay. YouTube, I wish you would fix that. I'm just going to try to whip out a couple here real quick. Last gasp. Anyone with surplus cucumbers, summer squash could gift them to folks feeding chickens or hogs. Didn't even think about that. All right, Mountaintop Preps. If you see that, do you want some cucumbers to feed your chickens? We'll go that way. Jenny says, thank you for sharing the police scanner app the other day. Yeah, it was going nuts today. Eric Witt, would you trade silver for gold if you had it? Had it? Uh, Depends. I mean, and again, this is where I say under ratios. I like to keep a 100-to-1 ratio for me. 100 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. If I've got 1,000 ounces of silver and no ounces of gold, yeah, I probably want to, a few hundred ounces of silver and get, probably, so I got to 5 ounces of gold, 500 ounces of silver, something like that. Yes, I would. Uh, Fox Settings just checked the free settings site. They have a message that says they will be back. They're working to make the site better. It was supposed to be back up by May 2025, but it isn't, so I don't know. That On that note, that's where we're going to end it. All right, gang. We'll see you in the morning. It was a good live stream. Have a good evening. Pinball out.